Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
And how do I communicate better with my clients? I think that's another area where our advisors struggle, is how to reach their clients and reach their clients in a more efficient way. And that's what Envestnet is doing in the market today, which is helping advisors scale their business, engage with their clients in a different way, and engage in a way that they're going to need to reach the next generation of investors.
Well, welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
In 2007, I produced and directed a documentary called Say Goodbye to Granddad's Retirement. This documentary was my humble attempt to warn savers that the tried-and-true pensions enjoyed by my granddad and his generation of savers was about to end, and the potential dangers encountered by today's savers who were relying on too much risk with the stock market offered by Wall Street, compliments of this brand new thing in 1978 called the 401k plan, a plan that did not offer guaranteed income like Granddad's pension. One reason for creating this documentary is also in 2007 was that the stock market back then was at all-time highs, and I was getting nervous that savers had way too much of their retirement savings in the stock market. I knew at some point these same savers would be approaching retirement, and they too would long for a guaranteed income they could never outlive, just like the pension my granddad enjoyed. Now, at that time, I was concerned that Wall Street was overvalued and that much of what savers saw in their 401k plans wasn't real money, which proved to be correct, as we saw in 2008, where some savers lost as much as 50% of their 401k values. Fast forward to today, savers are just as worried today because they know they've got that same concern that Granddad did not have to worry about, and that is the fear of one day running out of money, something the 401k cannot provide. That is, until now. That's because recently, many on Wall Street have joined our party and admitted that maybe the products that provide this guaranteed lifetime income, which would be annuities, by the way, maybe these annuities aren't so bad after all. That's right, folks. Those same people who bashed annuities for years are now admitting that having a guaranteed source of income in retirement that you can never outlive, well, maybe it's not so bad an idea after all. So what changed? Why are so many folks on Wall Street now suggesting savers load up on annuities in retirement? Well, all I've got to say is, welcome to the party, pal. Well, welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement, folks. And before we get into our content, I want to introduce two folks who are great pals of mine who make this show happen every week. That's right, America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, along with Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. And guess what? We got another special guest in the studio today. That's right, folks, all the way from Bowling Green, Kentucky, my favorite financial fiduciary here at Tony Walker Financial. Please don't tell Wes and Trey I just said that.
I won't.
Okay. Miss Heather Hughes, thank you for making the drive to Louisville, Kentucky today, Heather.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, before we get started, the theme is Welcome to the Party, Pal. That came from a movie.
Okay.
It's got to sound familiar.
It sounds super familiar, but I can't place it.
Die Hard.
Welcome to the party, pal.
That's it. Okay.
A great scene, remember? And I thought, Derek and Aaron did a fact check on me. I thought he said, welcome to the party, pal, to the terrorist. Who was he saying that to? Do you remember? Remember the cop that was outside?
Oh, yeah, the guy that was getting the donuts.
The Twinkies.
The Twinkies.
You need to watch Die Hard again.
It's been a while.
Okay.
So is it a Christmas movie?
It is a Christmas movie.
Okay,
We did determine that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so kind of understanding where we are on this thing. You and I have been working together, almost 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Walker Financial, I hate to toot our own horn, but we were doing retirement income planning using annuities years ago. That was our party for the most part. Now, of course, we brought back in the Schwab. We have, $275 million with Schwab, so more than just annuities. But we have to admit, annuities have been our forte. But all of a sudden, articles like this, the benefits of including annuities in an RIA, that's us, Registered Investment Advisor practices. This came out of Investment News. So now all of a sudden, it appears that Wall Street and a lot of the folks out there that used to pretty much bash annuities are now on board thinking maybe it's not so bad an idea to have guaranteed income for life. What say you?
How revolutionary. No, I mean, that's the funny thing. I was thinking about that the other night is one of our main annuity carriers, I think they introduced the income rider, which generates the mailbox money, about 2 years after I started.
Yeah, that's right, because even when I first started selling annuities, that was
right.
01, they didn't have the income riders. I forgot about that.
Right, and so, I mean, we were still utilizing annuities at that time, but that was really kind of the game changer for us. And to see kind of that through fruition now, we've seen many clients take that lifetime income, and we've seen how such a powerful tool that is. But yes, you know, you shared that article with me earlier, and it's a little laughable. You know, the reason they're doing it is because they figured out how to generate fees.
Yeah, speak to that, because traditionally, and we still use commission-based annuity products. We don't have a problem with that. We always explain our commissions. We'll even tell our clients what they are, but those commissions are kind of baked into the cake. The clients are kind of surprised that they're not literally hit with a upfront charge. Obviously, they surrender the contract. That's where they come back and grab the commissions. But in general, there's no out-of-pocket cost. If it's an income rider, there might be a fee, but speak to why we think Wall Street is really on board with annuities now.
They figured out how they could get paid with annuities.
So explain that.
So right now, I mean, a typical registered investment advisor that is basically only paid by fees with assets under management, their income is solely based on how much money they're holding for clients.
And those are recurring annual fees, which is how we work with Schwab. So
exactly.
Hold on to the money. Let's make sure the audience understands. The game is hold on to the money. As long as that money stays there, you get a recurring fee, kind of like your own annuity, so to speak. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So, you know, it's in their best interest to keep as much money with them as possible. But I think they're finally recognizing that consumers are demanding more. And in that, they need long-lived, regular guaranteed income.
What we call mailbox money.
Which is the only thing that can provide that is an annuity. So they know that the demand is out there, and they know that money is leaving their assets under management because retirees are needing that financial tool. So they've come up with a way to try to meet that need and still get paid.
Still get paid through the fees on annuities. So I guess that would lead to the next thing. And folks, we've been doing this a long time. So my thoughts are, if you're thinking about an annuity, even if you've got an older annuity you purchased several years ago, it may be a good time, especially if you're retired, nearing retirement. We're even selling a lot of annuities now, the 4 and 5 year MIGAs that are paying great interest rates. Why don't you consider contacting us at TonyWalkerFinancial.com? Just click on that Let's Get Started. We've even got that guide, the Annuities Made Easy guide. I would encourage you to order that. We'd be happy to talk to you at no cost or obligation. So do it now. Log on, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Call us at 877-499-9255. Well, Heather, thank you so much for being with us. I got to get the whiteboard out. You take care and make it a good one.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tony.
Having worked in the retirement planning field for 40 years, I know it's not just about how much money you've saved for retirement, but making sure you one day don't run out of money. That's where mailbox money comes in.
Mailbox money!
A reliable, lifelong income, much like the pension plans from the past. If you're interested in turning your 401k into mailbox money, let's talk. Just set up your free 10-minute phone call with myself at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
And now it's time for Tony in the Trenches. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. I am America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Ornder, and I've got our next Tony in the Trenches right here, so let's get to it. This TNT comes to us from Bobby in Mount Washington. Tony, I know you're a big fan of annuities. With that said, I recently began helping my mother-in-law better understand her investments and came across an annuity she recently purchased for $200,000 from All People, her tax preparer. After looking over the contract, it appears that she cannot take all of her money out without a huge penalty for 10 years. When I told her this, she said she became mad as a hornet and said she was never told about the 10-year surrender penalties. Does she have any options with your firm to handle this annuity and get her out of it without penalty?
Now, you got to remember something, folks. I love annuities. I've been selling annuities for years, but I'm one of those folks that also says, let the buyer beware. Why? Because there's so many different types of annuities, and worse yet, there's so many people out there peddling annuities, which is a problem because a lot of people don't understand how annuities work, or sometimes they don't tell people about the darn surrender charges. I run into this every week. People come into me, they've purchased an annuity from an annuity peddler, and then there they are, they're sitting, they want out of this annuity, and we can't move it unless they're willing to incur huge penalties. Now, again, nothing wrong with bonus annuities, but you have to understand something. If you buy an annuity that has a bonus attached to it, and you decide to bail out of the annuity before the surrender term is over, the penalties are even worse. So here's what I would suggest, folks. Please, before you just rush out and buy an annuity, the first thing you can do is download this guide I wrote. It's called Annuities Made Easy. It's absolutely free. You can log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You're going to hit on that download section, and you can download that for free. If the internet's not your thing and you'd like to read this booklet, but you'd like a hard copy, you can simply call our offices at 877-499-9255 and request a hard copy of Annuities Made Easy. Again, we will need your name and address, and we can get that to you. If you're sitting there right now and you go, Tony, I'm already thinking about an annuity. I know I want one. I just don't know what type. Well, let's set up a time to talk. Just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. Did you realize that if you have more than $250,000 in retirement assets, the government could tax as much as 40% of it when you go to take it out? And with current tax rates set to expire in 2025, the taxes you will owe on your 401k could climb even higher. Don't wait until 2025 to see how much Uncle Sam will take of your money. Get a game plan by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
I can't even imagine my great-grandfather sitting back on the farm saying, well, I've hit a certain age, I'm done farming now. I mean, it's just something that he did until he died. You were a farmer. You had to produce for your family. There wasn't really a notion of retirement per se. I mean, you didn't pay off land, and land was eventually paid off. But you just kept going.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Our theme today has been Welcome to the Party, Pal, kind of taken from that Bruce Willis line in the movie Die Hard. I love that movie. By the way, we were talking earlier, me and Derek, I think that's a Christmas movie. Some people think it's an action movie. We both agree that's a Christmas movie. Anyway, you know, as we think about this Welcome Back to the Party, our theme has been Wall Street coming onto Main Street and joining the party and the chorus of believers such as myself that savers must have, not should have, must have at least some of their money into products that provide guaranteed lifetime income, and that would be, of course, annuities. But we have to go back into the annals of history and look at my granddad's retirement and where he started. So what I'm going to do is kind of a timeline of retirement. And when did this Welcome Back to the Party begin? We're going to go over to the whiteboard here. We got the big one out. This is important stuff, folks. But basically, we're going to take it back all the way. We'll start this timeline at 1932, an important date there. This is when my granddad, at the age of 18, keep in mind this was during the Depression, folks, began working at Bell South. Now, back in that day, there was another important timeline, and you'll see where I'm going with this. That was 1935. What was significant about 1935? Well, that's when Social Security was enacted into law. Now, why do I mention these two dates is very important? You have to remember, up until this time, for the most part, people were on their own in terms of planning for retirement. They tried to save as best they could. Maybe they had a farm, a little business, paid off things. Basically, it was kind of hand to mouth back then. Very few people had a lot of money. You just did the best you could with what you got. That's how you lived. But then came in this idea of Social Security, which really is just an annuity. It's a promise to pay a guaranteed lifetime income that you can never outlive. Well, as Social Security took hold, many employers, including Bell South, began to think about ways they too could reward their employees for years of service, and that was called a pension. Again, a pension is just like an annuity. Annuities, pensions, Social Security, they're all the same thing, folks. Their main focus is to make sure they can provide a lifetime income to the recipient for as long as they live. That's why Wall Street's now starting to see the wisdom in this, because they're realizing, You can't go into retirement and have all this risk because you could run out of money, and that's not what savers want to do. So let's now fast forward a little bit on this timeline. Granddad's working his tail off at Bell South all these years. Then in 1978, Granddad attends a party of some of his co-workers. Why was the party held for Granddad? Because he was retiring. Now again, keep in mind, I was 18 years of age. I spent a lot of time with my granddad down in Troy, Kentucky. I remember it well. He came home with a clock, a brass clock, a hat, and a license plate that says I is retired or something goofy. And that was it. He never went back to work. And that's when he got his beloved pension, or what he called mailbox money. Okay? So Granddad didn't worry about money. He didn't even have a 401k. Why did he not have a 401k? Roughly that same time, that's when the 401k was created by Congress with, I think, the help of Wall Street. And now all of a sudden, Wall Street, with all of its mutual funds and all that stuff, came onto Main Street and started offering Joe Lunchbox these very risky 401k savings plans. Now again, I'm not getting on the 401k savings plan. It's an excellent way to save for the future. The problem is it ushered in all of these worries and concerns that my granddad never had. All right? And one of those concerns is risk. And we know what happened in 2001. Actually, it was 2000 to 2002, if you want to be specific about it. Basically, for 3 straight years, take a look at this. 3 straight years, the market tanked. Can you imagine being retired during this period of time? The problem was nobody was retired back then at that time with these 401ks because they hadn't been around that long. People didn't worry about it, and off we go. The stock market rebounds, which it always does. But another important timeline, we all remember this, 2008, when many of these 401ks magically became 201ks. That's right, a lot of people lost 50% of those 401ks. So as we move forward, okay, now we're at 2024 with 10,000 people retiring each and every day, or at least turning 65 anyway, all of these savers are saying, wait a minute, I can't continue to take all this risk. What about these annuities? What about these pensions? The annuities folks are becoming so popular, and we saw that back in 2001. This is when I started selling annuities. I realized back then that people would want these guarantees just like Granddad. But now, welcome to the party, pal. Here comes Wall Street saying, yeah, maybe annuities aren't so bad after all. So basically, you might be saying, well, Tony, what's the point of all this? The point of all this, folks, is, first of all, if you're looking at an annuity, which I would, if you're a saver, I would encourage you to consider annuities in your retirement plans. Why not consider an annuity from somebody who's been doing this all the way back around 9/11? This is when I committed my practice to finding safer alternatives for savers. Now, of course, we still have the split IRA. We can still take some risk. We can take some liquidity positions with Charles Schwab. But for the most part, we're going to make sure if you're a saver, you've got that annuity, assuming you want that beloved
mailbox money.
So you might be sitting there saying, yeah, Tony, I would like a second opinion. I have been pitched an annuity by somebody recently. I've been invited to a dinner seminar. They're talking about annuities. Well, I would encourage you to talk to us first before doing anything with an annuity. And it's easy to do and absolutely free. Just log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You're going to click on that Let's Get Started button, or to arrange a free phone call with me, just call 877-499-9255.
Today's Better Business Bureau Spotlight comes to us from Debbie. Tony Walker Financial is head and shoulders above any other financial institutions I have experienced because they provide a unique financial analysis but do not pressure the customer in any way. It quickly becomes very evident the fiduciary is highly skilled, and the custom analysis coupled with common sense recommendations allows the customer to make solid decisions and feel confident the best investment options are locked in. My only regret was not discovering Tony Walker much sooner, but thank goodness I eventually found him and his excellent team. For more information, visit TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 877-499-9255.
Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
following individuals are uncompensated clients at the time of filming. Their opinions expressed were provided to Worry-Free Productions for use as an advertisement by Tony Walker Financial. Please refer to Form CRS and Form ADV Part 2A Disclosure Brochure for information regarding the advisory services offered by Tony Walker Financial.
Our client spotlight today shines brightly on Miss Kim DeFazio. And Miss DeFazio, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. And I'd like to, first of all, just tell the audience briefly, what did you do for a living prior to your retirement?
Prior to my retirement, I worked for the Federal Railroad Administration. I was a rail integrity specialist, and then I retired at the end of January 2023.
That's awesome. Remind me, how did you find out about Tony Walker Financial? Do you remember?
Well, I had a financial advisor prior to your team, and I wasn't happy with some of the fees that they were charging me. And I was talking to my family member, and we just happened to talk, and he said, "Have you ever heard of Tony Walker Financial?" And I said, "Yes, I have." And he said, "Well, you know, I'm one of his clients." So he said, "I would encourage you to call Tony and talk with him." And that's what I did.
Oh, thank you very much. So your experience thus far, you've been with us a couple of years, but now that you're retired, tell us about the audience, about the experience you've had with the staff and our ability to respond to your needs.
Tony, I mean, it's hands down. If I have a question or I have a concern, all I need to do is call that phone number. Everyone is ready to help out with whatever. And it's prompt. I mean, it's prompt service. It's not like I wait 2 weeks or a week and then somebody gets back with me. So I like that customer service feel.
Well, Mr. Fazio, we appreciate your business so much and look forward to many years to come. So thank you.
You're welcome, Tony. Thank you.
And you're welcome as well.
Looking for an advisor you can trust? Schedule your free phone call with Tony at TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 1-877-499-9255.
Who can you trust? It's one of the most important decisions you'll have to make. Question is, are you ready? Well, we're here to help at Tony Walker Financial. You know, we care more about you than we do your money, and we have over 2,000 happy clients and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau to prove it. Rolling over a 401k, confused about Social Security, maybe you're afraid of running out of money. Learn how to use and enjoy and protect your hard-earned money. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
Tony, I did a little research on you before I came in today, and I know that you're one of the largest producers of annuities around. But then when I looked into annuities on the internet, it seems like there's some negatives about annuities. Can you walk me through why they're good?
Yeah, I'd say when you say some negatives, actually, if you Googled annuities on the internet, probably more bad than good. Unfortunately, most people that talk about investments anymore come from kind of the investment world or Wall Street. Annuity products are not Wall Street products, so there's the rub right there. Annuities are issued by insurance companies. So insurance companies and Wall Street, if you think about it, they're kind of competing forces. So annuities are built for what I call the saver personality. They're not really investment products. Annuities are there to protect principal. They're to make sure people don't run out of money. For retirement planning specialists such as ourselves, they're excellent because we can sit down with a saver, especially somebody who's retired or nearing retirement. And for the most part, depending on if they want what I call mailbox money, we can tell them exactly how much income, exactly, guaranteed, they're going to have for the rest of their lives. Now, if you look at it that approach, you'd say, what's not to love about an annuity? So you got to understand there's a lot of people out there that do not like annuities because they don't sell annuities. They're selling products that maybe have a little more risk and possibility for growth, but a lot of the clients we work with are savers. They don't like taking a lot of risk, they want more certainty, and annuities are excellent for those types of folks.
That makes perfect sense. And, you know, people like to find information on the internet. Is there a better place to get more information about annuities?
Well, and I am very good at annuities. We've proved that we know what we're talking about. So I would encourage people to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and just download our free Annuities Made Easy guide. I think that will help people understand these products much better.
For additional information and scheduling your free, no-obligation appointment, go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Looking to roll over your 401k? Then log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and learn just how easy it is to roll over and safeguard your 401k. Do it today.
following individuals are uncompensated clients at the time of filming. Their opinions expressed were provided to Worry-Free Productions for use as an advertisement by Tony Walker Financial. Please refer to Form CRS and Form ADV Part 2A Disclosure Brochure for information regarding the advisory services offered by Tony Walker Financial.
Retirement has been the happiest time of my life because I can now do the things that I have enjoyed all my life but never had time. Well, I have always loved the arts. I saw my first theatrical performance when I was 13 years old and have been in love with the arts since then. So I thought, I'm going to volunteer at the Kentucky Center for the Arts and see all the wonderful shows that they put on down there. The second thing I'm passionate about is animals. So I saw a notice in the paper to sign up to be a volunteer teacher called a docent at the Louisville Zoo. When you retire, be selfish. Do the things that make you happy. Don't just think about what you can do for your relatives or your grandchildren. Think about something that you have always wanted to do and then go do it. You can only babysit your grandchildren for a certain amount of time. And then you have to think about the things that make you happy. So find something you're passionate about. It might be volunteering at a local animal shelter. It might be being a volunteer at the Kentucky Center for the Arts. But find something that you're really passionate about and then go for it. These last 12 years, I can honestly say, have been the happiest of my life because I've been able to pursue the things that I am passionate about. So I encourage everyone, make a plan, go out and have fun. You have a lot of life left to live.
Welcome back to Fun Facts. I'm Wes Walker, full-time fiduciary in the Louisville and Lexington offices, joined by
Trey Juergens. I'm a full-time fiduciary advisor here in the Louisville office.
And today on Fun Facts, we're talking about the role of bonds in someone's investment portfolio. So for a brief overview of what a bond is, essentially all it is that when a corporation or government or other entity wants to borrow money, they issue bonds and investors buy those bonds. When they get a bond, the investor gets typically a coupon payment from it, so they earn some interest in exchange for letting that entity borrow the money from them. Now, when it comes into investment portfolios, we see a lot of different bonds. We manage bonds in our strategies within Charles Schwab, but maybe Trey, if you can, speak a little bit to the role of bonds in someone's investment portfolio.
Sure. So historically and statistically, bonds have kind of been that anchor point for an account. Everybody talks about the pie chart and ratcheting more from equities towards bonds as you get older, closer to retirement. Historically, they have been the safer bet. However, as opposed to equities, when the market's rip-roaring, equities are going great. If the market's down, equities are typically down. As bonds with interest rate risk, it's a whole different animal. So speak a little bit to something historically pretty recent in 2022. It was something that's rarely seen with interest rates spiking so quickly. Just speak a little bit to what happened with bonds.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Fed controls inflation by raising interest rates. That's a basic mechanism. It slows down the economy, hopefully stops so much spending, and slows down inflation. That's one of the tools they have. Well, in 2022, inflation was running rampant. It was almost at 10%. They had to raise interest rates in order to calm down the economy. But what this means for people who held existing bonds, it means that those bonds aren't worth as much because they're only paying a coupon that's lower than the prevailing new interest rates the bonds are paying. So with that said, the value of those bonds that people held went down dramatically in 2022. The opposite is true, though. So if the Fed were to lower interest rates and you were holding bonds, those bonds would be worth more on paper because they're paying a higher coupon rate than what's presently available. So a lot of people wonder when they look at a statement, why are the bonds moving around? Really, it doesn't have so much to do with what the stock market's doing. It has a lot to do with what interest rates are doing. As one last point, the longer a bond is, if you hold a 30-year bond, it's way more susceptible to those changes in interest rates than a shorter term, say a one-year CD would be.
All right. Really good stuff, Wes. Thank you, Trey. Thanks so much for listening to the Worry-Free Retirement. Hope you tune in next week. Until then, you be worry-free.